Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chillin with the Villain. And today we're truly going to chill with the villain because normally we sit here, we chill out, we watch some classic wrestling, then review it. Well, today we're doing something a little bit different. Yes, indeed. I've been a big, brave boy because today we're doing Ask Marty Anything, AMA.
Hmm.
But before we go any further, allow me to introduce myself. Of course, I am the villain, Marty Skell, and joining me, as always, is the producer of the show, the king of the tables, Samuel Scott. Sam, I
Hello.
hope you have some interesting questions for me. Or are they all going to be, how did you get started in wrestling?
It's about 50-50. That question
Yes.
and some interesting ones. So a real mixed bag, but it's quite a full sack. We have quite a full sack today, Marty, which is a
Well,
good thing.
the last few weeks when I've
Mm.
asked both PJ Black and Chris Masters to come on the show, I had to say, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you the normal generic questions. We're going to ask you some different questions, not just how did you become a fan of wrestling? How did you get your start in wrestling? I'd say 95% of interviews I do ask me that. And I'm thinking that information is all, I've answered that question multiple times. And all that information is on the internet.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I think if I'm going to do this interviewer position, then yeah, I need to step up. I need to step up again because most interviewers, they just ask you just the most bog standard thing. So today, I've asked the listeners of the show to ask me anything, and I mean that. No questions are off bounds, or how would you say it?
Off the table,
Off the table. They're not off the table.
out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
Another good t-shirt opportunity there. Off
What's that?
bounds.
Off bounds.
Another Martyism, as we call
There we
them.
go. But
Nice.
so it's up to you guys. So what questions do you ask? Obviously, we ask the listeners to send in questions through the Instagram. So if you're not following our Instagram account just yet, please follow us at the Villain Pod and also on TikTok and YouTube and all that other stuff. Today, Sam, I have spent most of my day at the dentist,
Oh,
and that has not put me in a very good mood, having my teeth drilled into and everything else. So I'm hoping that this Ask Me Anything can make me feel a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more in a better mood. How have you been, Sam?
yeah, not bad. I have not been to the dentist. I probably should go. Are you a good patient?
Yes.
Yeah, I am as well. If they just say open wide or whatever, I just do it.
Yes.
Because the easier you are at complying, the quicker you get to go out of there.
Actually, I did bite one of their fingers today by accident. Yes, one of the dental nurse had her fingers in my mouth, and
What,
at
you
one point,
sneezed?
no, at one point she said, "Don't bite," right? And I would have
Oh,
thought you'd either say open or you'd say bite, right? You wouldn't say don't bite because I'm
okay.
there. I've got like nurses around me. I've got all this stuff in my mouth. I've got glasses on. I can't hear everything, so all I hear is bite. So I bit down and bit her finger. Charlie bit my finger.
Charlie bit my finger. That's pretty funny. I can imagine she may have went into like veterinary school or something, but just didn't want to run that risk. So she changed her vocation to like dental assistant. And then she's just like, oh, for God's sake, I just can't escape these beasts.
It should just be open or don't or
Yeah,
just
you're
bite,
right.
not
You
don't
are
bite.
right.
All I heard was the bite part. So,
You're like, oh, okay. Crunch
well,
down.
saying that, Sam, it's been, oh boy. Here's the thing, guys. We record this podcast during the week. We don't do it live. You know that. And every week it seems to be a big wrestling week. But
Mm,
by the time we put this podcast out, it's going to be out of date because so much stuff happens.
yeah.
But the news as we're recording this, the big news is WWE have made cuts again. And
Hmm.
some of these cuts could have ended up on another show by the time you guys are listening to this. But someone that has ended up on another show, which has been rumored for a few weeks, but been confirmed today by the WWE, is Jade Cargill from AEW is starting with the WWE. Sam, I know you're a fan of Nia Jax.
Hmm.
Are you aware of Jade Cargill?
I am fully aware of Jade Cargill.
Okay, so
Oh man,
you're
I'm a
excited to
fan.
see
Yeah,
excited to see her in the WWE.
heck yeah.
Well,
They're
it's
like my two
interesting.
favorites. I want to see them bash heads.
You want to see them wrestle. It's
Oh yeah.
interesting. It seems like I don't know if you saw the reports today, but it seems like WWE are making a really big deal out of it. They had Triple H announce it and ESPN announce it, and it's not just like, oh, they've signed her and she's going to be quietly join
Mm.
NXT. They're making a really big deal out of it, just kind of like they did Cody
Like,
Rhodes coming
yeah.
back to the WWE. So it does make you wonder, are WWE sort of setting the precedent for AEW talent to come over to WWE and be big stars? Maybe they're taking this approach to kind of make themselves seem more appealing to the AEW roster and talent.
I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, it's
AEW's
also
got that kind of reputation for like pilfering like old WWE talent, which is not
right.
entirely untrue, but also not entirely fair. And I feel like WWE have clued in that, oh, if that's kind of their reputation, if we can get our reputation up as pilfering their top talent,
Mm.
that's just like a double bang bang.
Well, I don't want it
Instantly
to.
on top.
Yeah, I don't want it to sound like I'm taking anything away from Jade Cargill. Like, I think they would be stupid not to take her and try and make her a big star. Like, I don't think they're just doing it because, despite AEW or to set this precedent.
Oh, like
Um,
as a pawn or something. Yeah, she's not. I don't think. Yeah,
right.
I agree
Like,
with you.
clearly they would
Want
most
her.
likely want
Yeah.
her and everything else. So I just think it's interesting. And you just got to wonder if it will work and sort of how long they'll take this approach. I mean, first it was Cody, now
Mm.
it's Jade. Kind of makes you wonder, like, who's next? And I guess if you're a talent in AEW and your contract's up, you might think, okay, well, this is what I've been doing at AEW for the last few years, but damn, like WWE really seem to be taking care of the AEW talents that joined them. So maybe the grass is greener. I don't know.
What top AEW talent would you think would be better off in WWE in that kind of environment, or have you not even given it much thought until now?
Um, I mean, it depends how you define better off
Like
because
Flourish.
it's all down to the individual, really, isn't it?
Hmm.
It just, I mean, if you mean for them personally, it's I can't answer that in terms of become a bigger star, which I guess is what you're kind of asking.
Not necessarily. So, for example, I feel like John Moxley's better suited to AEW. You
Right.
know, I
Okay.
feel like that just seems more his home, right? Do
Hmm.
you? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I do think someone like Wardlow would seem to probably be on WWE's radar. Could probably do really really well in WWE. I mean, I think I think MJF would do
Mm,
really well in WWE. But then he's doing really well now as well. Like you're gonna have
right.
a lot of talent that are gonna do well in both. I think some of the women, like an Anna Jay, would probably do really well in WWE. Of course, I'm not sort of saying anything that nobody doesn't know. Like the WWE, the women in WWE are seen on a higher level, I think, than well, they're definitely given more time and more of a spotlight in WWE than they
In
are
WWE. Oh, for sure. There's no
right.
question. Yeah.
With AEW, it's typically one women's match a show, but anytime I watch WWE, it's like most of the time it's like half and half, like half the men, half the women.
Yeah. And do they headline much? They don't really seem to, do they? They have
In
before in
in
AEW,
AEW,
but it seems a lot rarer.
I don't. Yeah, I think they've headlined a couple of dynamites, maybe, but not.
Yeah.
I don't think they've headlined a pay per view or anything like that.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
um, so yeah, I think any of the women, maybe like a Anna Jay or Jamie Hayter, I think they'd do well in
Okay.
WWE. But at the same time, there's a bunch of wrestlers in WWE that you could argue aren't being utilized that would probably do better in AEW. And we
Mhm.
might find that out soon because these cuts, Dolph Ziggler got
Dolph
released,
Ziggler. I know, man.
who's been there for what, 15
Ever?
years or
Yeah.
something. It's going to be interesting to see if he turns up on AEW. I'm trying to think who else was cut. Mustafa Ali. there's a good chance for him. Oh, Riddle as well, which is pretty
Yeah, I
wild.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's damn, that's a shame. Honestly, that's a real shame. But I think
Yeah.
he'll end up back there. I think.
At WWE again.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would have thought so. Yeah, he has too much talent. I think he'll end up
Yeah.
back there. They both probably just got to sort some
Sort
stuff
the
out.
books out a bit. Yeah.
But I can also see him not being patient and maybe showing up in AEW. So I don't know. It's an
Nice.
interesting time for the wrestling fans. It's kind of part of me is kind of sad that all the wrestling talk in this day and age, well, at least from fans online, and of course I can't judge it because I'm doing the same thing now, but most of the wrestling talk is either about what's going on backstage or about people's contracts. Do you know what I mean? Constantly, like this person's contract's coming up and this person's contract is coming up. Will they go to AEW? Will they go to WWE? That seems far more interesting to most than the ongoing storylines or the matches or anything else. And I guess that's just the way it is now with sort of how big the internet and everything else
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So last week, I told you how big of an Instagram star that we've both become. And this week's been pretty funny because one of the reels that I put up was where we covered Money in the Bank to 2011. There we go, 2011. And one of the reels that I put up was me joking, asking the question, why do wrestlers climb ladders so slowly? And dude, my lord,
The comments.
I would say over 50% of the comments, right? I asked the question, one, as a joke, two, hypothetically, as in not asking for an answer. I think I know the
point
answer.
it out like
Just
an
point it out.
observational thing. Yeah.
An observational thing to be funny, a joke. Dude, over half the answers just answering literally. Just so
getting
many
annoyed
people.
at how dumb you are.
Yeah, being
for
like,
asking the
what? Are
question.
you so dumb? Like, like if they climb the ladders quick, then the match should be over straight away. And they're doing it for dramatic effect and all this stuff. Like people getting mad and answering. I'm like, guys, I know why they're climbing the ladder slowly. And then, dude, as well, I put that reel up about PJ.
Oh, poor PJ. Yeah.
Having his disagreement with Kane about Kane, who clearly didn't catch him. And that was funny as well. Just loads of people getting their knickers in a twist over that. And
yeah, I did notice that. First of all, I love all these comments. Even like the ladder
it's good
ones.
for us.
Why are you so dumb? It's good for us, but also it's very funny to just sit and read. But the PJ one, I just couldn't help but notice. So a lot of people were kind of giving PJ flack for telling Kane how he should or shouldn't work. That's how they perceived it. So
right.
In
it's not the
order
case.
Of punishing, I know it's not the case, but that's how they're reading it. And the punishment that they deal out to PJ for such an infraction is to tell him how he should and shouldn't work. By saying you shouldn't tell Kane how to work, they're telling PJ how he should or shouldn't work. So it's just like, was that irony not lost on them? You're telling a professional what he should or shouldn't do because you're so angry that you're perceiving him for telling a professional what he should and shouldn't do.
Right.
Just made me laugh.
Also, when your move set, I'm a wrestler, so I can say this. I've been a wrestler for 20 years or something silly. When you're a wrestler, you come up with a move set, okay? And then it's your job to explain to the wrestler, your opponent, how to take your move.
Right.
That's your job. Do you know what I mean? So,
because the onus shouldn't be on them to just figure this out, like be thrown to the wolves.
Right. It's and also, people, I mean, obviously there's standard moves that everyone does, like a body slam or a hip toss, whatever it might be. But still, the wrestler, if it's his move, he might have a particular way he likes the wrestler to take it, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So if PJ's telling Kane how he'd like him to take his move and Kane disagrees, whatever else, like, I don't see that as a rookie trying to tell a veteran what to do. As how quite a handful of people on social media tried to put it. It's like, no, or like, they're like, well, it's Kane's Kane's a veteran, so it's his job to call the match. I'm like, okay, but PJ's telling him how to take his move, like that. You know what I mean? Like
Two
that's
separate things. Yeah.
two separate things. One thing this did spark in my little brain. I thought we could play a game today, Sam, where I have a collection of comments from social media, and as you know, the Villain Pod, we have a YouTube account, we have a TikTok account, and we have an Instagram account. So I have this small collection, little small handful of comments. I'm going to read the comment, and I want you to guess which platform it came from, either YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram.
Based on how nice it is, or nasty it is, toxic it is, dumb it is, smart it is. I reckon we can figure that. I reckon I'm going to do pretty well at this. All right, give me one. Give me a good one to start off with, an easy one.
Okay.
To set like the baseline. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, first one. First comment. What is this Q word? You can work that out. What is this Q word doing on my feed?
Okay, YouTube, 100%.
Correct.
The moment you said there's a homophobic gesture in there, that's YouTube, 100%.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, you're good at this. You're good at this. Okay. Next one. Dollar Tree, question mark? Why are you so Americanized?
Okay. I don't know. I'm going to come back to that. But should we talk about what this is about? Because there's this kind of fascination with our people back home. My friend Ollie does this to me a lot, where if you are like an expat or you're living in another country, if you're from the UK and you live in America for any length of time, and you adopt these things because it's easier for you day to day. It's that simple. Our audience, for example, for this podcast is overwhelmingly from North America. So that does include Mexico and Canada, but the majority is from the United States. So we do kind of gear things. When we want to say something kind of generic, we will say it in an American way because it just makes sense for everyone. Well, there's this thing where the people back home get very twisted up about us adopting American terms, like we're kind of turning our back. And my friend Ollie does this a lot. And in fact, I didn't check the username. Is it my friend Ollie?
I actually don't have the username down here. Okay. It might have been. Well, this was to one of the reels that I made where we suggested that Horace Hogan looked like a Dollar Tree Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold. Yeah.
And he asked me, this comment says Dollar Tree, question mark, why are you so Americanized? And I thought exactly what you just said. I thought, well, the majority of our audience is from America. I don't think it would have the same effect if I'd said, Horace Hogan looks like a Poundland version of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah. Our equivalent of Dollar Tree. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that simple. But yeah, a lot of our countrymen do take umbrage over that. And not just for the podcast. I mean, it seems to be kind of a phenomenon just generally.
It does.
Interesting.
What platform?
Oh, man. Could that be... I was going to say TikTok, but I don't... I'm going to say IG.
You should have gone with your first thought. It was TikTok.
Was it? Okay. I changed my mind because I don't know actually how popular TikTok is in the UK because it's clearly from someone from the UK, but it's popular everywhere, isn't it? I should have stuck to my gut on that one.
You should have done. Okay, the next one. Get ready for this one. Are you guys... Are you guys like actually serious? They're fucking actors, bruh. Ha 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 ha. They're told to climb it slow so people like you can be like, oh my God, he's gonna win. Oh my God. LOL. It's all rubbish.
It's all rubbish. It's all rubbish anyway. Why have a podcast? Why enjoy life? It's all rubbish at the end of the day. I feel like what was that bit? They're fucking actors, bruh.
Are you guys like actually serious? 2 question marks. They're fucking actors, bruh. Ha 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 ha. They're told to climb it slow. So people like you, capital U, can be like, OMG, he's gonna win. OMG. LOL, it's all rubbish.
And he spelt it BRUH.
BRUH, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so good. I'm going to guess though that was IG because the real I know blew up on IG the most, so just the odds that was IG.
Actually, you're wrong. That was YouTube again.
No way.
This comment, this reminds me.
I should have known.
You said a great phrase this week. What was it? Something about being so far behind in the race that you think you're first. What was it? Is that it?
Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
That's a great line. Like this guy is so just like
Confident.
I asked this question. It's not a question. It was a joke. Like, why are they climbing so slowly? And this guy's answering so confidently, like thinks he's got one up on us or me or whatever it is. Thinks he's showing the world how smart he is because he knows pro wrestling is a work, and he must have felt so clever and just confident after this comment. It's like, bro, like we're way ahead of you, buddy. Come on, like.
Yeah, man, that is. Oh wow, I should. Yeah, in hindsight, that is very.
We get comments like that on YouTube sometimes because YouTube tends to be the one that pushes it the most randomly. So it will go to completely, non-wrestling fans and whatnot. So if we ever get, I don't want to spoil this game, but we seem to get a lot of non-wrestling fans commenting on our YouTube videos, which is kind of odd. I don't know why. Like if I get something up in my YouTube account that I have no interest in, first of all, I don't watch it. But second of all, I don't go and comment on it.
And give your opinion on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good one. That made me laugh.
Next one. Honestly, I feel like you graduate from rookie somewhere between 10 to 15 years in the business. LOL.
Well, that's it's karma.
What do you mean it's karma?
That message, the tone of it is
I
calm.
thought you said it's karma. I was like, karma?
Oh, I said that. Yeah. You get what you deserve. No, the tone of it is calm. It's kind of measured.
Yeah. I will say this.
It's
Not all of these are like people crapping on us,
up,
by the way. No, they're just random comments. Yeah.
So I know I keep saying IG because I'm bound to be right one of these times, hopefully, unless I'm not. I'm going to say that's Instagram because that seems like they're trying to have a talk.
Correct. Yes, that was Instagram. I will say this. I actually had a bit of a debate with this person because they were trying to suggest that you graduate from being a rookie after between 10 to 15 years in the business.
There's a set, like the army, there's leagues. Yeah.
I think what this person couldn't understand is I think, and I tried to explain this to him a lot. I tried to say, like, there's a huge in-between part between, it's not like you're a rookie, then you become a veteran. There's a huge in-between part, right? Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like life.
Yes, right.
You're dumb until you're not.
Right, like the wrestlers aren't just rookies and veterans. Do you know what I mean? Like some are rookies.
Yeah, they're in two camps.
Right. And I thought the idea
and this stuff takes time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the idea of 10 to 15 years
being an arbitrary line in the sand until you graduate to veteran.
And I thought, so you're trying to say that someone that's been wrestling for 14 years in the business is a rookie? And they said, well, I've seen wrestlers that have wrestled for 10 years and still have no idea what they're doing. And I said, yeah, that is the case. That doesn't mean they're a rookie. It just means they're not very good.
Right.
Yeah, they could not understand this at all. They just could not. I was like, a rookie, realistically, technically a rookie actually is someone in their first year. Like if you see the Rookie of the Year award, to be, a candidate for it, you have to be in your first year of wrestling. I would say realistically a rookie, 1 to 3 years. Past that, you're not really a rookie anymore. But to suggest 15 years, I was like,
an arbitrary line.
15's a veteran. Come on. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'd say he's like a veteran really is probably anything after 10 years. I'm not saying everyone's good after 10 years. Some people still useless. And of course, there's some wrestlers that wrestle once a month for 10 years, but yeah, they're certainly not a rookie. So a healthy debate on Instagram. So
there we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got one right.
You did.
I'm just thinking about all of those rookies who have been wrestling for 14 years, right? And 364 days, and they go to bed And it's like, when we went to bed at Christmas Eve, set the beds. I mean, when we were kids, and you just couldn't wait until, because it's Christmas Day and you can't wait.
Can't
Do you
wait
reckon
to
they're all
wake
like
up.
that? They can't wait to wake up and they're a veteran.
Tomorrow I get to be a veteran. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny, like I've been wrestling 20 years and sometimes I've joked on this podcast that, pro wrestling veteran, but I don't necessarily consider myself a veteran. Well, maybe I consider myself one, but I don't act like one. Like I don't pull a vet's card and I'm not doing that thing that you see. Honestly, realistically, any good wrestler, like a wrestler that's made it, will never actually act like a veteran. Like you won't see Sting sort of playing the vet cards or anyone like that.
Right.
No,
Going
it's
around
only
going, but I'm a veteran.
no, never,
Right.
never. It's only people that have been around for a long time but have never really done anything sort of play up the veteran thing as their sort of gimmick or their identity. No one else does. Do you know what I mean? I did a tour of Canada a few months ago, and the show finished, and I really wanted to get back. And also, I hadn't lifted weights for like a week because we were on tour. So I started helping taking the ring down because I was like, lift some irons, that'd be good. It's better than doing nothing. And I just wanted I couldn't leave until the ring van, the promoter was taking me. So I couldn't leave until it was down. So I started helping take the ring down, and everyone's mind was like blown. And the promoter was like, "Oh my God, like we've never seen a name help with the ring. What the hell?" And actually, to be honest with you, the real reason why I did it, other than the reasons I gave already, is because I know the promoter had a problem with like a lot of his wrestlers or tradies sort of not helping out with the ring. And I thought, you know what, like, let me just help set a good impression. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or set, like if I can do it, they can do it. And it's like, it'll be easier for the promoter and they'll get this ring down. And like, realistically, I've put up and set up and torn down hundreds and hundreds of rings. And it's a great part of your training. And I think if you're going to be a wrestler, you should know how to put up and take down a ring. And now I'm perfect with the ring. I know everything about them and how to put them up. And if we're at a show, a ring breaks, I know how to fix it. Do you know what I mean? So it should be part of your training. In fact, on that same tour, I want to say the boards were jumping, and I explained to them, I said, we need to put ratchets over the boards. We did that simple thing, and the boards didn't bounce anymore. It didn't come up. So it's like, sort of my knowledge sort of paid off, and that meant that I wasn't getting hurt in the ring. So it sort of pays to have that knowledge.
Everybody wins. Yeah.
Everybody wins. But going back to the original comment, but yeah, so no big star plays the vet card. So yeah. Okay, this one I think is an easy one. This one genuinely made me giggle. I thought it was a joke at first, but then I realized what platform it had come from. Get this. What's a phone booth?
I don't even understand. Oh, okay.
What's a phone booth? Question mark. They're asking what is a phone booth.
Yeah.
I saw this and was like, oh, they're joking. Then I was like, oh, they actually don't know what a phone booth is.
Okay.
That should give away what platform it's on.
YouTube.
TikTok. It's the youngest audience, right?
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah. They won't be alive.
Right.
We don't have phone booths anymore. Okay. God, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
I'm so dumb. I should be posting comments instead of reading them.
I mean, when you say phone in this day and age, or for the past 10, 20 years,
yeah.
Obviously you don't think of what, you obviously think of iPhones and Androids or whatever it is. So what would a phone booth be? Like if you're, I don't know, if you're 20, 25, you've probably never seen a phone booth before, right?
No, yeah, that's a good point. God damn, I'm done with this.
Yeah, how many did you get right? Well, actually, I've got one more. But you got the first one. No, you got two right.
Oh, two right, yep.
Okay, last one. I think this one you're gonna know because I think I showed you this one already. The comment goes as follows: "That's Big Papa Chump."
That was a great one. That was Ryback.
It was
on Instagram. Yeah,
that was. I've never met Ryback. I don't know Ryback. Have I met him? I'm not sure. I may be in passing, but I don't know him at all.
Mm-hmm.
So just randomly commented on one of our Instagram videos that kind of went viral. So thank you, Ryback, for commenting on our post. I think it got lots of likes. So anything to help the algorithm, anything to help spread the word
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Yeah, thanks to the big man. Yeah, that was good. All right, so I got 3 right.
Well, 2. The third one you'd already seen before.
What was the third one?
The Ryback one, or the last one, sorry.
No, that was the last one. Yeah,
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. So you got 2 right. I said the third, your third right answer.
Fine. All right.
Well, people, if you enjoyed that segment, let us know and we'll do it again. But now people are just going to be posting comments just so I read them out and Sam can guess where they're from. But that's fine.
I thought I was going to do so much better than I did.
So did I. Oh, well. Better that next time. Well, you do have a chance to redeem yourself, Sam, because I was thinking today. And you know what I think? That could be very dangerous. But whilst I was in the dentist, having my mouth drilled at, it got me thinking about the time that Vince McMahon decided that he hated dentists and that everyone hates the dentist and thought, this would make for a great heel character. And he came up with Isaac Yankem to be played by Glenn Jacobs, unfortunately for him, the wrestling dentist. Then I was thinking about the occupational gimmicks in professional wrestling and history and some of my favorites. And I thought, whoa, Marty, let's stop thinking about this and let's make this a top 5 on the Villain Pod, Chillin' with the Villain. So here it is. Here's Marty and Sam's top 5 occupational wrestling gimmicks. And I guess I'll go first as always. So coming in at number 5 of top 5 occupational gimmicks goes to Val Venus, the big Val Bosky. Yes. Wrestling porn star. That's the job, right?
Yes. Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
They're not doing it for free. So Val Venus at number 5. I spent quite a bit of time with Val Venus once. And did I talk about that on the pod before? I'll bring it up another time. Number 4, Repo Man.
Okay.
I also enjoy, they get extra points if their job title is their wrestling name.
Oh yeah, that does give an extra. Yeah,
that's got to give.
And Repo Man is just such. I think that's the best example.
It's probably I've got another good one in there actually, but yeah, Repo Man. Just what are you, Repo Man? Okay, cool. Like the plumber. Number 3. I'm sure you know this one's coming. The Mountie.
Oh, of course, of course. The moment you said that you wanted to get a top 5 ready for occupation, I knew that I wouldn't have the Mountie because I know that you love it. I was like, Mart, it's going to be in there. I just guarantee it. That I do know. He's a great one though, isn't he?
A great one.
For sure.
Number 2. This one, people might try and argue with me, but hear me out. Number 2, The Undertaker.
Okay.
That's an occupational gimmick, no?
It is. I kind of like it is, and I assume he is one, but I always kind of assumed that he was a like a dark being that's just kind of represented and called the Undertaker, but he's not actually one. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Well, so I tend to agree with you, but here's the thing. I mean, first, like his gimmick is that he's a dead man, right?
Right.
He's a dead man, but he's also called the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early days of his gimmick, especially, we did see him making coffins. We did see him saying he was going to bury people alive.
Mm-hmm.
I will bury you alive. And we did see him bringing up the coffins and everything else. And like you saw him in the warehouse making coffins. I mean, maybe he's actually a carpenter. Thinking about
maybe,
it,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen him dig graves before as well. So that would suggest that he's an undertaker. But that never really made sense. The fact that his gimmick is a dead man, but they call him the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can't have Undertaker, then can I have Paul Bearer at least? Because again, his name is the title as a Paul Bearer. That's the job.
I'm afraid you can't have Paul Bearer.
Okay.
Because he's on mine.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
because he's on my list.
I think I can have Undertaker.
So I've got to say, yeah, he threatens to bury people alive or buries people alive. If you bury people alive, though, you are a shit undertaker. You'll be fired on the spot. In fact, you shouldn't even be burying people. Isn't that kind of what the priest does?
I don't know.
You know, like the undertaker just digs them and moves on.
Yeah, what does the Undertaker, what do undertakers do? I thought they buried him.
Dig graves. No, they dig the graves. But at a funeral, and they go to lay the coffin down, it's the undertaker, not the wrestler, although that would be pretty funny. Just like they're waiting for them and then starts filling them. I actually don't know. But maybe they do. I don't know.
Okay. Well, people, let me know, the listeners, let me know if I can have Undertaker for my occupational gimmick list. Coming in at number 1, probably won't be a surprise. One of my all-time faves, Doink the Clown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm more specifically like, I'm going for Matt Bourne, Doink, early Doink.
The original, right?
The original, yeah. And that counts. A clown is still a job, right?
Yeah, of course it is. I think he's so good because obviously to stand out in wrestling, especially in the 90s, you have to be out there and you have to be colorful.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of occupation is out there and colorful by design? It's a clown.
Yes.
So it just works so well.
It does. It does.
Good.
So come on, Sam. I'm excited for your list.
All right. So I always do like an honorable mention. I'm going to save my honorable mention until the end because I feel like it will kind of spoil another one I have later on in the list. So I am going to start at number 5, as most top 5s do. And at number 5, I have Paul Bearer. Okay. But stop. He's not a pallbearer. That's just his name. A pallbearer is someone who holds the coffin. We can find out. Maybe someone can let us know in the comments, or maybe I might actually just Google this really quickly now. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be like a mortician, like he owns a funeral parlor. But that's not a pallbearer.
Is it not?
No, a pallbearer is one of the friends of the deceased who.
Is it?
Carries the. That's a pallbearer. Yeah.
Well, because the reason why he had his gimmick is because he was like a mortician in real life.
Yes.
At some point.
So he's a mortician called Paul Bearer.
Mm.
Just like how the Undertaker is a carpenter.
Yeah, they didn't really think this out, did they, when they come up with the gimmicks and the names, huh?
But why he's made my top 5 is because I can't think. I've never seen a mortician in real life. I've never seen like a funeral home in real life. But I can't imagine them looking now anything other than like Paul Bearer.
Did you?
How could they? Like, I'd feel cheated.
Did you ever see that movie? I think it was Macaulay Culkin with My Girl.
No.
Oh, you didn't see it? Where he's like a kid and he...
Is that where he gets stung to death by bees?
Yes. But like, is it him or maybe it's the little girl? She grows up in like a funeral home and she becomes obsessed with death and stuff. And then ultimately her best friend dies by getting stung by bees. It's very sad. It's a tearjerker, yeah. But that's all
Paul
about...
Bearer's in it.
No, it's just about morticians and stuff. So like that's the only time I'm like, that's what I think of when I think of funeral homes, you know.
I thought
Paul Bearer's not in it, no.
Oh man, we need to do top 5 wrestlers. We will one time in movies.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
Okay,
for sure.
Number 4. Okay, it's kind of an odd one. I could remember him, but I didn't know his name. I don't necessarily know them as a wrestler, but I think it's kind of a good gimmick. That's why they're in there. It's called Duke the Dumpster. He's a bin man. He's a garbage collector.
Duke the Dumpster Drowsy, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that's who I didn't know his name. I just remember him, but I couldn't remember his name. I had to look it up.
I was going to say, I think when people say occupational gimmicks, I think a lot of the times the first thing or first person people will think of is Duke the Dumpster Drowsy, yeah.
Okay. So why he's not the first one that I think of. I'm pretty sure you know what my number 1 is going to be.
Yeah.
But why I've got him in is because I just feel like people like the blue collar occupations as the gimmick. I don't know. I just feel like they gravitate towards them. Don't you though? And so I was actually thinking of Repo Man. I was like, hang a minute. No one likes the Repo Man. Everyone likes the garbage collectors. But so I was like, no, I'm not doing Repo Man. So I did Duke the Dumpster. You did Repo Man. But yeah, I feel like people have an affinity towards the blue collar one. So I'm happy with Duke the Dumpster at number 4. What?
Well, I'm not sure if it's a case of everyone likes the garbage man.
I like the garbage man.
You
don't like it when
do?
the garbage man cut? Yeah.
I mean, I like it when my garbage gets taken, but
Yeah.
I
So
don't have.
no, in the you don't. Okay, in the UK, maybe just my dad did this, but like we always tip the garbage guys at Christmas and stuff. Like we have a
Yeah.
great respect for the garbage guys.
Well, I think it's got more to do with the job. You need to be able to turn it into a wrestling gimmick. So, for example, working, I don't know, being an accountant would be quite a hard wrestling gimmick to do, right? But a big
No,
man...
wait for my number one.
Well, okay, that's not the best example. You know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying.
Go on, let's go.
All right, number 3 is obviously Big Boss Man. I'm glad you did the Mountie, but like a cop, how could you not have that? So
Yeah.
Big Boss Man number 3. He has to, like, you have to have a cop as an occupational gimmick. You just can't not. It's got to be Big Boss Man.
Sure.
Number 2, I have Vince McMahon. Right? CEO.
I'm not so sure if that's his gimmick.
I mean, it
If
is.
that's his, I don't know if that's his gimmick or just who he is, his real life.
It's both. Two
It's
things
both.
can be true. Yeah,
True.
yeah. I think no, it's his gimmick, it's his character, but it's also his real life. So yes, CEO Vince McMahon is number 2. Number 1.
Oh, I already know it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's IRS, isn't it? He's just fantastic because when he came out in the 90s, and this is just another one of those, I hate the dentist, Isaac Yankem. Obviously, Vince McMahon hates the IRS. And it's like, he can't even be bothered to give him a funny name. Well, Owen R. Shyster, obviously, but just IRS. Just like straight to the point. What is he? IRS. What does he do? Works for the IRS.
Well,
Is he nice? No, he's awful.
It could have been
Perfect.
the tax man, Mike Rotunda, or something, I guess.
Yes, exactly. But no, it's just this literally IRS. Just,
IRS.
we know who Vince McMahon does and doesn't like, don't we?
It's just really funny how the idea that a wrestler would need another job. First of all, they're wrestling for, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of ours are actually from WWF or WWE, that they would need another job. And not only would they need another job, but they would need to like incorporate it into their wrestling style as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you could be accountant, you could be work for the IRS and be a wrestler. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to dress up in your taxman gear to wrestle. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, actually, my honorable mention doesn't work for WWE, and it's kind of like that. I had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
There we
go.
go.
The only reason why she made my honorable mention and isn't in the top 5 is because it's not really utilized at all. She just mentions it. It's not very kind of well integrated. And why I saved her for the end instead of at the start is because she's kind of similar to Vince McMahon in that it's like, it's kind of not really a gimmick, it's more actually you, but she made my honorable mention.
Does the right to censor count as an occupational gimmick? It does?
I think it does, but they're more of like an advocacy group. Right. So I don't know if they're getting, I don't think they got paid. So it's technically not an occupation. But I think it does. If we say it does this change your ranking or not?
Oh, for sure. I'd like that.
I'd
like to have them up there, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't know if it counts.
Okay. Godfather is I guess pimp is an occupation.
Oh, maybe. Godfather counts for sure. Yeah. I mean, are there others that people don't think of that you could argue? So, like
Probably.
a cowboy is not a job, is it?
Yes, of course it is. It's not.
A cowboy's a
job.
Not
a charity. Yeah, of course it is. It's like farmer.
A cowboy's a job?
What do you think a cowboy is?
I thought people were just cowboys.
What does that even mean? Well, you're either born a cowboy or you're not.
Yeah, I just thought you put a hat on and you ride a horse. Now you're a cowboy.
I mean, I guess in a way, yeah, that would be. I mean, especially nowadays.
Well, I'm looking on.
A cowboy is like a ranch hand. Like it's someone who works with like in the frontier with animals. Yeah,
I'm looking on a job website right now and typed in cowboy and nothing's coming up.
Okay, well, keep trying. Maybe give them your email and they'll email you when a slot is available.
Oh, so we could count any cowboy wrestler? That opens it up to like a whole massive list.
Is a cowboy? These are one of these things where I'm typing as I'm typing it in.
It
I
comes
think
up.
I can't believe I'm typing this
It's a
because I know the answer. It literally says yes. It doesn't even explain. It just goes yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
ranch-based job that includes caring for livestock, horse something. I can't read that. Horses. Oh, okay. It's just missing an S. I thought it was going to say horse play.
Well,
and caring for the land. Yeah, of course.
Well, I want to add Hangman Page to my list.
Okay, I think you can do that.
I mean, there's a whole bunch. The Godwins, I kind of wanted to say. There's a whole
What were
bunch.
they?
The Godwins were hog farmers.
So cowboys.
No, hog farm. They were like they were Midian.
Like hillbilly kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah. Hog farmers, yeah, or pig farmers, or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
And their name was the Godwins, and their names were, you'll like this, Henry O. Godwin, as in Hog, hog,
Mhm.
and I think it was Phineas I. Godwin,
Oh,
pig.
Hog and pig. Oh dear me. I like
So-
that. That's Stan and
Bo.
Bo levels of wordplay, isn't it? All right, cool. Whose list did you prefer, by the way? I'd be interested.
Let us know, please. Let us know. You know
Or
what?
maybe you didn't enjoy either of them. If so, oh yeah, and actually, let us know if there's an occupational gimmick that we just like would not come to mind.
Yes.
Like,
Don't give us the obvious ones like, well, we've covered a lot of them here, but
Big Boss Man, yeah,
Yeah, like
Duke
this-
the dumpster.
is vampire a job?
I don't think so, unless he works for like a haunted house and he's not a real vampire, but he just like when the haunted house is closed for the rest of the year, he just can't give up his character, so he wrestles. Maybe.
It's possible. It's possible. We need some more occupational gimmicks back in wrestling.
Who was that wrestler who kind of his gimmick was he's like a infomercial guy. He's trying to sell like a workout package.
Oh, Simon Dean.
Okay, that name doesn't ring a bell. Let me Google. But yeah, that's an that's a
Yeah.
good example.
That was an occupational gimmick. His gimmick
Yeah.
was like a personal trainer. Yeah.
And he's just trying to sell like a package for like 40
Mhm.
bucks or something. Simon Dean.
Is that who you're thinking?
Yeah,
of?
that's it. Yeah. That's him. Yep.
Yeah. That was a
Okay.
good one. That was a good
all right.
one. Well, Sam, I think we probably should move into the Ask Marty and Sam Anything
Mhm.
segment of the show. I will say this, we had a lot of questions, so we're going to try and answer as many as possible. A lot of them I'm going to have to be relatively quick with my answers because
Yeah.
we don't want to have a 10-hour podcast. So most of them I'm going to kind of race through, if that's cool.
Yep. And I'm going to try and bunch up the ones that are similar or the same. So don't feel left out if, I say this is from X and then I read out a question that's very similar to yours. We just have to move on. But we do appreciate each and every question and keep them coming because we do want to answer as many as we can, like on every week. So we might as well just get started. I'm going to do the most highly requested one at the top, just bunch them all up. So many people asked this, requested this as a question. So from Stay Gold Jewel, Poppin Ain't Easy, Ralph Khalifa 305, although he said it in a way with lots of swearing, which is kind of funny. Will we see, I'll read from Stay Gold Jewel, will we, Marty, will we see you on AEW ever? Or do you have any inspirations to go there?
Simple answer, I don't know. In terms of will we see me on there, I don't know. If you guys want to see me on there, maybe let them know that you want to see me on TV, that you want to see me on their product, cool. But as far as giving you a straight answer, one of those things, will I be on tomorrow? Probably not, but who knows? You know what they say, the old never say never. That's obviously not the answer you want, but it is funny how so many people ask this question where it's like, even if I was doing something with them tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be able to answer it on the podcast. So a little bit of a wasted question, but I do really appreciate everyone that wants to see me in AEW. That is very kind.
Yeah, and again, so I couldn't read such a similar question out multiple times. So it does seem we've got about 40 people ask the same question. So there's a lot of support there. So who want to see you in AEW. And then obviously Similar questions are: will you be working in either AEW or WWE? It's a similar question. I'm assuming the same answer applies, but
Same answer. If you want to see me in WWE, let WWE know.
yep. And I will say that question didn't specifically say it was addressed to you. So I too won't be seen on AEW for a while. I'm assuming it was for Marty though. Marty, VSP Rhodes asks, what's your favorite color, Marty?
I'm really into green, a few different shades of green, and of course, I like purple.
Yeah. Do you have a color that you like for one reason but you won't wear, or you like to wear but won't use in any other way? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I don't really wear purple, but I like the
Gonna
color
say because
purple.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Our good friend Y2 Garcia asks, will Flip Gordon have a guest appearance at some point?
On the show, I assume she means. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we definitely would like Flip on.
Yeah.
Lots of people requested to have Flip on. Um, Depending on how he does, if he makes us laugh, which he probably will, then maybe we'll have him on more than once. Maybe we'll have him as a recurring guest on the show. But yeah, we'll probably try and get Flip on within the next month or so.
That'll be cool. Okay. Fox Whit seems to have found a loophole because you say, "Oh, I don't want to keep answering the same thing like every time and everything." They found a loophole by then drilling down to something oddly specific. Marty, favorite show you wrestled on in Yorkshire?
Oh, oh, dude, I've wrestled in Yorkshire. I'm sure many a times. I can't even think of any shows right now. Top of my head, Leeds is in Yorkshire, right?
Yeah.
I think we did a Dragon Gate show once in Leeds. So if I have to give an answer, that. But honestly, dude, I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But I appreciate you, Foxwit, for finding the loophole. So I'm sure we'll get more of those where they're just like oddly specific right at the end. Jack Ledger Ice King asks, what is your favorite gear of yours, and do you have a story about it? I know you had a very good story about gear recently, but you didn't necessarily say it was your favorite gear.
Favorite gear. Oh, it's interesting. So actually the latest gear that I've got that I would have worn by now, wore for AAA in Tijuana, is my all purple gear. So purple trunks, purple knee pads, purple boots. So very much like Ric Flair style gear. So I'm super into that. Dude, I've had a lot of gear over the years. I've spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I did have a guy in Las Vegas that would make me these ring jackets where he would make them himself, but he would buy like an old coat or whatever from like a charity store and then take it home. He would paint it up, he would customize it, he would put studs on there and leopard print stuff and everything else. And like they were like my favorite jackets. Like I preferred them to the custom built ones that cost me thousands of dollars. So I really enjoyed them. Some of them, like I had one that was like half leopard print, half like black and white. That was really cool. Dude, I guess it counts as gear. The wings that I had for the Tokyo
That's
Dome,
the story. Yeah,
Wrestle Kingdom, where I spent all this money because they got made by a lady in England, and then I had to fly them over to Japan. I had to put them in like this massive. It was actually like a Christmas tree bag, what they call like a Christmas tree bag, this kind of big suitcase with foam in it. Took it to Japan with me, but of course it was all in like 100 pieces, and the lady had sent me like a video showing me how to put it together. So it's the day of the Tokyo Dome show, and it's like, I don't know, trying to do like a really complicated IKEA project on the day of like the biggest show of your life career. So the whole show, I'm stressing out trying to put this thing together. I'm not even concentrating about the match, and I finally get the whole thing together. And the thing with it was, you wore it like a backpack, and it had two leads at the front that you had to pull down. When you pulled them down, the wings would come out and expand. And when I put the whole thing on and went for rehearsals, I pulled the leads down and only one wing would come up. and it's like only a few hours before the show starts, and I'm just like freaking out, like, oh, got to get this right. And at that point, like the New Japan staff told me not to worry about it, and they were going to all sort it out, and like said, go get ready for your match and everything else. And I was really, really stressed about it. Anyway, comes to my entrance. They not only did I have the wings, but I was also going to pop out of the stage, sort of Rey Mysterio / Gangrel style. And as I come through the stage, I pull the leads, and I can't see if the wings have gone up or not because they're behind me.
Right.
So I walk all the way to the ring. They take the wings off me. I get in the ring. I see Osprey, and I'm like, did the wings work? Did the wings work? Did the wings work? It's like, yeah, they worked. They worked. I was like, yes, thank God, thank goodness. And then I realized, like, oh, dude, I've got like a 25-minute match to do now in front of 45,000 people, which I haven't even thought about because I've been so stressed about the wings. So, yeah.
That's funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Your good boy, Richie Jewel 92 asks, has training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu helped your wrestling career?
Good question. I know Richie. Shout out to Richie. He's a great guy. I wouldn't necessarily say it's helped my wrestling career, but I think what he probably means is, has it helped me in the ring? Which I would say possibly. It's definitely helped me as a person. Definitely helped build my confidence. Definitely, I always explain this. Jiu-jitsu to me is very much like therapy. It's when you're rolling with someone, you can't be worried about all your issues or whatever you're stressed about. All you can concentrate on is escaping this hold or applying this choke or whatever it might be. So it's very, it's a really good time to be able to switch off, which most people find so hard to do. So
Yeah.
it's helped me a lot as a person. It's really helped build my confidence. So I would say, so that in turn, you could argue has helped my wrestling career. But yeah, I would recommend jiu-jitsu to anyone and everyone.
Wrestling Glimpse asks, worst traveling to a show story? Question mark.
Oh, dude, there's many of them. Jeez, I've had
every time, isn't it? Yeah,
dude. I mean, dude, what I went to Qatar a little while ago, and my flights got delayed where I had to leave a day late. So that sucked. And then when I flew back, the airline lost my luggage for like 2 weeks. So that also sucked. I had everything in my bag. So a big suitcase. That sucked. One that comes to mind, this was crazy actually thinking about it, but myself, Cody, and the Young Bucks did a show in Ireland. I want to say Dublin for Over the Top Wrestling OTT in Ireland. And we were going to fly from Ireland all the way to Japan to do pay-per-view. And the flight schedule for us was we fly from Ireland to London, London to Tokyo, Tokyo to like up, it was somewhere up north in Japan. So we're gonna have to make like another domestic flight once we got to Japan. Anyway, so we literally did the OTT show. We don't get back to our hotel till super duper late, and we eat food. We like barely sleep at all, and we've got to get like a 6 a.m. flight out of somewhere in Ireland. I think it was Dublin to get to London. Anyway, so we all get on the flight. All of us have barely slept, so we all like pass out straight away. I think we all passed out before the flight had even taken off. About 2 hours pass, and I wake up and I realize that we're still on the plane. The plane hasn't landed yet. And actually, we haven't even taken off yet, right? So, and our layover in London was only supposed to be like a few hours. And it's really funny. Cody tells this story. I like run up to find Cody. He's fast asleep, and like wake him up. And I remember his eyes were so bloodshot, looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, brother, we haven't even taken off yet. Like, we ain't making it to Japan. He's like, oh, geez, right? So anyway, whatever happens, we end up finally taking off to get to London. We, of course, missed our flight to Tokyo. So then they had to put us on a later flight to Tokyo, right? Way later. We did a flight to Tokyo. As we land in Tokyo, it's like the time is like 3:30 or something. And the show is like another flight somewhere up north in Japan. it's on pay-per-view, which starts at like 7:30. Bearing in mind, like, we're like, what the hell? And we're in Japan, and we also, not only that, but it wasn't even a case of it's a flight in the same airport. It's like a different airport because we landed international and we've got to go travel to like a whole different terminal and everything else to get this domestic flight. And we have no idea, obviously, how to read or speak Japanese. So we land, and Tiger Atori met us as we land in Tokyo and basically like took us all around to get our flight with us to, again, I can't remember who it was, somewhere up north in Japan. And we finally get that flight. We land in, again, wherever it was, somewhere up north in Japan. And like, we don't even have time to go to a hotel and shower. It's like, we've got to go straight to the venue. So at this point, we've done all day in Ireland, sold merchandise at the gimmick table, wrestled, like been there till late, got back to the hotel super duper late, probably gone to sleep at like 3, woken up at 4:30, up, got to the airport, sat on that flight for ages, got to London, sat on like a 12-hour flight or 14-hour flight to Japan, landed, got on straight into another hour and a half, 2-hour flight, whatever it was, to up north in Japan. Now we're in a taxi going straight to the show because we've got to wrestle, right? And all we've done for like nearly 24 hours now is just travel. And we finally get to the show, and like the show is basically starting, and I'm like, oh my, I felt like I was in a bubble, just like, oh, so delirious.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is that we were in this country town almost. Oh, not country town, but we're up somewhere up north in Japan, where I guess the crowds are really quiet and didn't really respond to sort of non-Japanese talent. So I was teaming up with Cody that night. It was me and Cody against, I want to say, Kota Ibushi and Kushida. And I remember me and Cody coming out for our entrance. I think we might have come out to Cody's music or Bullet Club music. And we walk out on stage, both of us, and it's just complete silence. Like, they just did not react to us at all. And at this point, we were riding high and getting like the biggest reactions everywhere we went and just treated like megastars. And then we just walk out in this like northern Japanese city just to complete silence. And we're just like, we just did all this travel and everything for like to wrestle here, and just no one gives a crap. We legit looked at each other and just laughed. We're like, oh god, it's like we thought we were over. We were wrong about that. Like,
that's funny.
So yeah, that was a brutal one.
The Berg 511, who from last week or the week before, asks, what country has the most potential to have a big pay-per-view outside those that have already?
I think Mexico would be really cool. I think they could do a really big one in Mexico. And I would say Australia as well. But I'm pretty sure I saw something about WWE going to Perth soon to do Elimination Chamber. So I assume that would do really, really well. But there's the first ones that come to mind. I think Japan would be really cool as well. Like if WWE did a pay-per-view in Japan, I expect AEW will probably beat them to that. I would have thought, I can imagine them doing a pay-per-view in Japan at some point.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see WWE do one in Japan. I think that'd be really interesting.
I do as well. Cool. All right. FMS Daniel OTX, I'm going to ask two together, asks, the Elite return, ? And our wonderful fan, the Mrs. Kate Ray, asks, will you ever be back on BTE? And who is your favorite member of the Elite to wrestle?
In terms of being back with the Elite, it kind of goes back to my same sort of AEW answer. At the same time, I'm not really about moving backwards. I'm kind of focused on moving forward. People ask me, oh, like you should go in the new Bullet Club or whatever. It's like, I've been there and I've done that. I want to move on to new things. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, the Elite, they're, great guys, everything else, but that was a chapter of my career and everything else. And I've kind of moved on from that. So unless the storyline or whatever asked for it, I don't necessarily see myself taking a step back. And as I always say, all my friends are dead too. So I think we can move on from that. In terms of my favorite one of them to wrestle, like they're all great. So I mean, I love wrestling the Bucks, and I used to really enjoy wrestling Cody a lot as well. And I have wrestled Kenny, I want to say, and Hangman, but not as much as the other guys. So yeah, I'd say the Bucks and Cody.
Okay. And Stay Gold Julie again asks, kind of maybe you've already sort of answered this, but if hypothetical, if you went to AEW, would you join the Elite or BC Gold?
Again, I'd like to think that I would do my own thing. I don't think I need to join either. The villain is like one of the greatest gimmicks of all time, people. I don't need to share this with anyone else, do I now?
There we go. She also asks, Osprey versus Marty again when?
That would be cool. I mean, at the moment, it's possible, but the longer time goes on, maybe the less likely. I'm sure Osprey's going to sign somewhere, whether it's WWE or AEW. But yeah, I'd like to do it one more time. We obviously had great matches.
Yeah.
If an indie promotion wants to make it happen, I'm up for it, and I'm sure Osprey would be too.
GW Good Wrestling asks, what is the worst match you've ever seen? Theirs is Abdullah the Butcher versus Zeus.
Ooh. Honestly, I feel like there's no way for me to answer this without hurting anyone's feelings. So, worst match. I don't know, man. Just the same standard ones that everyone thinks are terrible. Like.
What about the Shawn Michaels, the Saudi Arabia one?
Oh, that's a great answer. Thank you. I mean, of course, there's really terrible matches where clearly the people in them have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah,
but it's like,
I think that,
but that, whatever, give them a pass. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what they're doing. When you got a match that where everyone
should have known better and done
legends,
better.
that's probably the worst match I've ever seen in terms of, dude, look at the people in it. Jesus.
That's why I think it's the worst match as well. It's just so egregious. It's like there's no reason why it should be that bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing went right in that match.
Loudmouth SA asks, the best countries you have wrestled in.
Oh, I know Loudmouth. He's a wrestler from South Africa.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Well, I would put South Africa on the list. I went to South Africa quite a few months ago now, but I had a really lovely time there. And that place is super duper cool. Actually reminded me quite a lot of home, but nicer weather, of course. Favorite countries to wrestle in? Of course, I've got to mention Japan. Love being in Japan. Japan's probably my favorite country to wrestle in.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the fans just take it so seriously and they treat you like a big sports star. And I don't know, I feel like a real pro wrestler in Japan. But dude, I mean, I love it in Mexico. I love wrestling on Australia. I love the country Australia. Like if I had to pick another country to retire in, I think Australia would be on the list. Obviously, wouldn't want to live there now because it's so far away from everything. But I think Australia is really cool. But yeah, dude, I'm just so happy that I still get to wrestle and travel to all these different countries, because travel is one of my largest passions in my life, along with food, which kind of goes hand in hand, and wrestling, and it all kind of goes hand in hand. So I'm just very fortunate, to be able to travel as much as I do.
Wrestling, food, and travel. Also, Japan for all three of those things is just such a banger.
Exactly, it is.
Unway Mass 64 asks, so the villain gimmick, Marty, will there be any evolution of this gimmick in the future?
Of course, it's always evolving. Always. That's why I said just now I don't want to take a step back. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You saw that being the elite side of the villain, but I don't want to go back to it. I want it to evolve and just become. You have to. You've got to. I mean, look at someone like Triple H, how he's managed to just evolve his character over the years. And if you were asked to describe Triple H's character, you couldn't really describe it other than an evolved character, and certainly with the villain. And the fact that so many people have tried to steal what I do constantly means I have to evolve, because I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do that anymore because all these guys stole that from me. So I'm constantly being pushed to evolve, not just me as a wrestler, but yeah, the gimmick itself.
Fair enough. Jimbo C86 asks a question that's on all of our minds. How is Flip? I
I think Flip's all right. You know, he plays to
think
the
he's
beat.
alright. Yeah.
He plays to the beat of his own drum. You know, I love Flip. He's funny, man. Like people get so like, not everyone, but some people get worked up with this whole, you know, him saying the world is flat and all this stupid stuff. And I
Mhm.
don't think he believes that at all. I I don't think he knows enough about anything. I think he's just saying that to get a reaction, but people really take it
Yeah.
personally, you know. But no, Flip is good, man. Like I said, he plays to the beat of his own drum. He's doing really well. In fact, the last few months or so that I've spoke to Flip, he sounds sort of better than ever. So I'm really happy for him.
Mhm.
Good for him.
Yeah. Damo1462 asks, if you had the chance to wrestle your pro wrestling Mount Rushmore, which one of the four would it be? Now I know you actually have done one of them, so
Well, yeah, that's
two of
kind of
them.
like it's kind of two questions though, right? It's like
Yeah.
you're so wrestling Mount Rushmore
Don't give
again.
it
Okay,
because that's gonna be a
yeah,
segment in a coming episode, actually.
okay. If I yeah, well, I've already wrestled one.
Yep.
If I had to wrestle any of them though, actually, it probably would be Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to wrestle Eddie. I'd love to wrestle any of them. It's of course that's why they're
We
my Mount
just
Rushmore.
can't tell you what they are
Right,
until
right,
the next episode. How funny is that?
right.
Okay, what the Kari Crush asks, what is your favorite piece of merch that you have released?
Good question. I think the Bullet Club umbrellas were obviously super cool because they crashed the Pro Wrestling Tees
Yeah.
website, and they were such a big hit. And just, dude, I made New Japan a lot of money, like a lot. You know, they more than covered my salary, that's for sure. They stick out. The villain broken finger, foam fingers
Yeah.
stick out. You know, my masks that I put out on my website, the replica masks, I think are so cool for me to offer. The villain jerseys
Mhm.
that I put out recently, dude, I've had a lot of merchandise. I'm just looking behind me now. I've had Converse shoes, like villain Converse shoes, come out, like multiple pairs of them,
Yeah.
and chalk line jackets, and dude, all sorts of patches, toys, the brawlers.
I
Yeah.
feel like you're very proud of your jersey,
Oh yeah, love the
aren't you?
jersey. If you
Yeah.
missed out on that, then I apologize. But yeah, love the jersey. Well, it's just because most wrestling t-shirts, like, look, I'm wearing one now, like just a black t-shirt with a graphic on the front, a print on the front. But I'm doing full-on jerseys, just like your favorite baseball
Mhm.
team or sports team, you know. And I think that's something you can wear and be proud of. Just people wear jerseys with pride, right? Typically,
Right.
they wear them with pride, and I want people
Yeah.
to wear my merchandise with pride. So I am proud of them. Yes.
Cool. So, Kavas or Kavachi, I don't know how you pronounce that, asks, what are some of your own personal matches that fans should check out? You know, if you want to get someone on the old Marty train, is there like one
Wow.
match you'd be like, hey, watch this?
Um, I think a lot of people would probably point to dude. My memory is so bad with like names and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say the match I had with Osprey at Budokan Hall, Sumo Hall. I think the show was called Sakura Genesis, but that match I had with Osprey, where I basically tried to break his neck repeatedly for like half an hour. And Osprey, what's funny about that match is I'm trying to break Osprey's neck for like 30 minutes straight. And then Osprey pretty much just breaks his neck himself by trying to do the Spanish fly on the apron and crushes his skull. So that match, which yeah, that was Meltzer gave it 5 stars, so it got the Meltzer approval. Um, that match, I think a lot of people would point to, but I actually prefer my Osprey match that I had with him in Long Beach, and I can't remember the name of the show. It's the one. It was in Long Beach, and it's a much shorter match. It's like 16 minutes, but it's like a sprint, and it's the one where I give Osprey the tiger suplex off the top rope. Um, I can't remember the name of the show. I'm terrible, but that one I actually probably prefer. So
Is it
those two,
Fighting Spirit Unleashed?
it could have been. Yeah, this rings a bell. Actually, it could have been that one. Um, that might also be the same show that I stole Rey Mysterio's mask. Maybe I can't remember. My memory's terrible. So those two matches will stick out. The NWA World Title match, Crockett Cup with Nick Aldis. That match, obviously meant a lot to me because my friendship with Nick and the story that we told leading into that match, and I thought that was a really great old school match. But then, other than that, like any match I had with Ricochet, always had great matches with. Had some great matches with Chris Hero and guys like Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Hiromu Takahashi in Japan always had amazing matches with him. So yeah, there's a lot of guys. Zack Sabre Jr. in the matches I had with him, dude. There's a lot of guys that I had great chemistry with. So it's again my memory for whatever reason is just so bad.
Dylan Shirley 97 asks, do you watch your matches back afterwards?
I never used to because I hate watching myself, but in recent years I have tried to get much better at that, and it is really, really difficult. I don't like most people. I think when they watch themselves on camera, they kind of cringe, and I'm obviously a perfectionist with wrestling, and I watch myself and I'm like, oh, I hate myself. Why do I even try? But I've tried to be better at watching myself back, and honestly, with how big social media is now and like content is king, I'm kind of forced to watch my matches back now because I got to find footage to put out there for people. So I'm kind of like, forced into watching myself again.
Jeremiah Reynolds 23 asks, favorite part about being in Japan? Now, you've answered the wrestling aspect anyway, so I wonder if this is like separate to that, but
yeah, two things. One, the food. I love the food out there. It's incredible. And two, just how clean and how sort of by the rules Japan is. Like just everything is so it's so by the rules, which actually sometimes can be like it can go the other way. But for the most part, it's just like, everything's on time, everything's clean. Like what I love about Japan is that everyone is trying to be the best. So even if someone's job is, I don't know, just I don't know, is they sweep roads, for example, they're going to dedicate themselves to being like
such
the best.
pride in it.
Yeah, to be the best road sweeper in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I think that's really admirable, and I really enjoy that aspect of Japan. So yeah, I absolutely love Japan. But yeah, dude, going out for dinner every night in Japan, just dude, like we just could not wait to get the shows over just so we go out to eat. I honestly, it's like get this wrestling stuff over and done with, and just get me to the dinner table.
Well, Samantha Marie 640 asks, what's your favorite sushi restaurant?
Honestly, anything that's all you can eat, really.
Dude, is that how you do it? Yeah.
Well, that's a difficult question because I can't remember the names of these sushi restaurants. Like I've had a lot of good sushi. I love sushi. There's one in Orlando, Florida called Kabuki, which is really awesome. But then I've also been to a whole bunch also in Florida that really good and like all you can eat, but then I can never remember the name. So but yeah, that's the only one for some reason I can remember the name of, Kabuki in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, there you go, Samantha. There's your recommendation. Okay. Arman Mizari, sorry if I've butchered that, I really am. What asks, what was in store for Villain Enterprises next that we missed out on? And was anyone else joining?
Good question. I think I was gonna have PCO go off and do his own thing, and probably Brody do his own thing, and maybe me and Flip sort of team up, and then inevitably me and Flip were gonna have a program where Flip turned on me. So that might have been the end of Villain Enterprises. So probably no more members. I think if we did have to add a member, it may have been cool to add like a woman to the group, but we never got that far. I think, like I said, Brody, PCO were going to do their own thing in singles competition, and myself and Flip were going to go into a big program against each other, but unfortunately, never happened.
Yep. Damo 1462 asks, do you think that Okada will ever leave New Japan for a different company?
It's hard to say. My brain says no, but you just never know what happens in wrestling. New Japan could have new ownership. Anything could happen. Like there's been times like, do I see him coming over to the States full time for a company like WWE or AEW? Probably not, because I feel like if he wanted to do that, he would have done it by now.
Yeah.
but if New Japan stays how it is now, then I see him staying with them the whole entire time. He has too much invested in it and helping that company grow. Unless something drastic happens, then I could possibly see him going to a different Japanese company, because that sort of thing has happened a whole bunch in the history of Japanese wrestling. But I don't think he really has much desire to come over here to the States full time.
Josh Rods asks if you would give classes in Puerto Rico.
Classes of what?
I'm assuming wrestling, but we can never be too sure. What could you give classes in apart from wrestling? What other talents do you reckon you have? I reckon you've got some.
I'm a social media expert now.
And you're good at interior design.
Oh, yeah. I'm a good interior designer. Well, I've done a couple of seminars for CWA in Puerto Rico. So, yeah, I could do it. If I get booked for it, then I'll do it. I mean, I'm not going to open a wrestling school in Puerto Rico because I don't live there. But yeah, I mean, I'm down for seminars. So maybe next time I come for CWA in Puerto Rico, I'll ask to do a seminar and you can come along.
There we go, Josh. Marta Ray 42 asks, is it okay to ask how you're doing? I'll answer this. Yes, it is okay to ask how Marty's doing. It's a lovely thing to do. Marty, how are you doing?
Well, that wasn't a question. She's just asking if it's okay to ask.
And I answered it, and now I'm asking you. How are you doing?
You're taking up the actual
Okay, I'll answer. Okay, Marta, I'll answer you. No, it's not okay to ask because he doesn't like it. He gets funny about it.
Am I okay?
No, we don't want to know now. No, you had your chance.
Well, she doesn't want to know because she didn't ask that. She asked, is it okay to ask how I'm doing?
And we can tell by your tone that it's obviously way too personal.
Well, why didn't she just ask how I was doing?
Marta, it's none of your business, and we beg you to stay out of Marty's affairs.
No, what's her name again? Sorry?
Marta Ray 42.
Marta Ray 42. I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much. Thank you for asking your question, and thank you for hopefully listening to the show. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Stitch Redman asks, I'm just reading this. Be careful how you answer this. What's been your weirdest fan interaction? That's not the bad part. And are there any nationalities worse than others?
Oh, jeez. Well, that part, they're just asking
Marty,
me to
let
be
me do
racist.
This. I know. Marty, are there any countries or nations that give you just that little bit extra when you come? Because PJ was saying off mic how Jamaica just loved him, right?
Yeah.
We'll turn it around, make it nice, shall we? Do the opposite question.
All different countries have their different sort of perks, you know what I mean? So I don't know if there's any that are worse than others. Like Japan, they're very cool for giving gifts, but I've had that in a lot of countries. So what was the first question?
Weirdest fan interaction?
Honestly, no real weird fan interactions. Like pretty much everyone for the most part everyone's super nice. Majority is polite and respectful. Every now and then you get the odd someone that's had a bit too much to drink and maybe they want to stand around the gimmick table for a bit too long than they should. But that's fine. I can deal with that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, for the most part, everyone is very, very pleasant. So yeah, I'm not gonna say what was it? What countries are the worst or whatever it was.
No, don't say, because that can be a really good top 5 for next week. Top 5 worst nationalities.
Oh jeez.
We can't do that, Stitch. We can't do that. Ridges89 asks, what is your favorite finisher of all time?
Oh man. That's a tough one. I don't know. Pedigree? I actually really love the RKO Diamond Cutter as well, even though it's been totally overdone now. But the Pedigree's cool, the Stunner, just the big ones, from the main event is really the Sharpshooter. Yeah, they're the best ones. The leg drop, the biggest star ones wins, I think.
Mine's the TKO, but apart from that, a proper pedigree.
Yeah,
the Owen Hart's one the other day, and just
exactly.
They're fantastic, aren't they?
Exactly.
I'd say pedigree too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Kid Cloud Smoke asks, Oh my! Kid Cloud Smoke asks, "Can you send me an autographed coffee mug?"
What?
Just want some free stuff. Can you? Can you send me an autographed coffee mug? It doesn't even say that it has to be like a Marty merchandise coffee mug. Just like any coffee mug.
Well,
I guess.
I was gonna say, why coffee mug? I don't even have coffee mug merchandise. Like, he just wants a coffee mug. I mean, to sign it.
Just steal one from Waffle House
Jeez.
and go to a meet and greet, and then Marty will sign it. There you go.
Well, yeah, if you bring me a mug, I'll sign it for you. But I'm not gonna send you a random coffee mug with my signature on it.
No,
this is not this type of Q&A, buddy. Like,
and don't actually steal from Waffle House. I was only being silly. But yeah, if you bring a coffee mug, Marty will sign it. Okay, so, oh dearie me. Oh, Kate again. Mrs. Kate Ray asks, not wrestling related, but did we know each other before living in the States?
you can answer that.
Yes, we actually, Marty's alluded to this before. Way back when we knew each other we have something called sixth form. So it's kind of like when you're too old for school, but you're too young to go to what you in the US call college, or what we call university. We have like 2 years around 17 and 18 where we call it further education. It's just 2 years to kind of gear you up for kind of a university mindset to help you succeed, and for like a 4-year or 3-year program. And that's where we met we did media studies. So we picked the classes that were just, no offense to anyone who's really into media studies, but like mess around classes, because it was just fun.
And here we are 20 years later, still messing around.
Still messing around. And actually, I just realized what I said. You went to university and carried on doing media studies, didn't you?
Exactly. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did, didn't you? Yeah. So it was actually okay. It was worth it for you. All right. So we've known each other for years. And I also remember driving. I had a Ford KA or Ford car, and they're like the smallest cars of all time. And it had an analog clock. It was that crappy of a car. It didn't even have a digital clock, had an analog one. And we used to drive around. We used to go to some wrestling shows. I used to drive you to some wrestling shows, and we used to hang out, didn't we?
We did.
KFC while I was waiting for you to wrestle.
There we go.
All right, cool. Yeah, so for a good amount of time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
The Real CMC asks, Marty, are you still in contact with the old Bullet Club and Elite members?
Of course.
Fair enough. The Berg's back again. The Berg 511 asks, and this is similar to another question from Fox Whit, the Yorkshireman. The Berg asks, could you tell us more about your figure collection? And Fox Whit asks, what's your most prized memorabilia possession?
So my figure collection is pretty much, I used to collect a lot of different figures. And then the last year or two, I basically narrowed it down to my Hasbro collection. I have the full Hasbro, the WWF Hasbro figures, including the last series, the green cards. I have all of them mint on card. I actually have them framed on my wall because that's worth quite a lot of money now. So I have all the Hasbros. I have a bunch of other stuff from that era. The reason why I got all the Hasbros is because I played with them when I was a kid, and I've said this before on the podcast, I was a poor kid and there was a lot of figures that I could not have. So as soon as I made some money in my life, I decided to buy all the toys that I couldn't have as a child.
Yeah.
So I did that with the Hasbros. Then all the other figures I have, at least on display now, are basically kind of they're pretty much random figures that I like, but the majority of them are wrestling figures. I have like a little Jushin Thunder Liger collection of wrestling figures. I have a whole bunch of different types of Jushin Liger figures. I have all sorts like Great Muta figures, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen. I've even got a Tiger Atori there. I've got Tiger Mask. I've got a bunch of Tiger Mask, actually, bunch of Great Muta. So yeah, they're the only really ones I display now, because the problem with the figures is, dude, it just takes up so much space. And as I got older, I just want less stuff, not more stuff. So it's funny, like no matter how big a house you get, there just doesn't seem to be enough space. So I can't be filling up multiple rooms with wrestling figures. So yeah, I don't really buy any wrestling figures anymore. And it's annoying because they bring out some amazing ones, but I'm just like, dude, I don't need more stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And your favorite memorabilia possession?
When I think I might have spoken about this before on the pod, but when I wrestled at Madison Square Garden, MSG gave me a silver Tiffany ticket,
Yeah,
which is just awesome. And
yeah.
at the moment, it's actually like hidden in my office, and I do need to find a better place to display it because it's honestly probably the coolest thing that I've ever received as a gift. So yeah, I mean, it's not everyone gets to headline Madison Square Garden, do they? So
Right. No,
I
they
should.
don't. That's pretty cool. Would you ever do like a tour or do like a little special episode on your figures and stuff? Because people love the figures.
Maybe it probably would mean I'd have to tidy my office, which I do a good
Oh, we
job.
can't have that.
I do a good job on this podcast of pretending that my office is not a mess by the way I have the camera positioned. But should I move that camera too much, then my secret will be out of my messy office. So I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do a little tour of the wrestling figures.
Question for me. So, good old Kent McPherson from our
Oh,
email asks, yeah, our buddy asks for Sam, out of all the wrestling shows that we've watched past and present, top 5 matches of all time. Now, we want to do a top 5, so I'm not going to spoil things with that, but I'm going to give you my top 1. And Galaxies Galactica also asks what's Sam's favorite match. So I'm going to give you the top 1 for now. I hope that's okay. It's Triple H versus Cactus Jack Royal Rumble 2000. It's my favorite match of all time.
we got to review that show at some point.
Oh yeah, it's my
coming.
favorite pay-per-view as well. There you go. I'll just give you that. Like it's my favorite match and my favorite pay-per-view.
Well, it's been
I love
reviewed
it.
now. There's no point.
They don't need to now. There you go. Yep. Dill Lansbro02 asks Marty, do you categorize yourself as a controversial wrestling figure? I think he means person in wrestling, not the.
Actually, my wrestling figure maybe was kind of controversial. Well, not controversial, but everyone's like, you have a figure, and they've seen the figure, but they've got no idea who made it or where it came from. So I guess you could describe it as that. But me personally, do I consider myself controversial? No. Do I think there's some people online that don't like me? That's fair enough. But honestly, every show I go to and every convention I do, I have nothing but positive experiences with everyone and every fan. And so kind of makes me feel like the stuff online is not necessarily real life. So you could maybe describe me as polarizing, but I don't think controversial is the right word.
Yeah. Last question, because there's loads more we just don't have time to get to, but we absolutely will. We're going to save them and move on.
We're going to answer the rest of them on
like,
Patreon.
Marty, like some of these, I'm looking though, and it's like, oh, this could be a discussion in itself. Like we've got opinions on death matches. That's just too long. Like I feel like we could talk about that all day. So we're going to save the others. Final question. Sensational Lee asks, do you think there should be more seminars specifically tailored towards managers and referees?
That's the last question.
Okay. Second from last question.
Sure. I mean, you go to any wrestling school, they'll teach you how to do that. I think they do seminars for that kind of thing. But here's the thing, everyone wants to be a wrestler now. And it seems like, without sounding too jaded, it seems like everyone can be a wrestler. So I don't know.
Nice.
Back in the day, people wanted to be managers and referees. Now it seems like everyone just wants to wrestle. So I don't know. Maybe it's not smart to do seminars for managers and that if no one wants to be one. So, but if you want to be one, just go to a wrestling school. They'll teach you.
Sort you out. Good advice. Finally, then, Y2 Garcia again asks, favorite thing about El Paso when you went in May? And is there anything that you wish you did that you didn't have time for or missed out on?
My favorite thing, I think people know because I covered it on my social media. When I saw the Eddie Guerrero, like, what would you call it?
Mural?
Mural. There we go. Yeah. Easy for me to say. The mural, which I don't know why I just thought was the coolest thing ever. I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, like Eddie being one of my favorites and just the Guerrero family as a whole. And I know it's just a painting on a wall, but just the idea that that's somewhere in the public, I just thought it was super duper cool. So that was cool. We also went to a really cool restaurant there that was awesome. And I can't remember the name, but like it was, a Mexican restaurant, which is amazing. And we also went up some like mountains and looked over, had like the view of the city, which was awesome, and you could like see the border from there and everything else. That was really cool. So I think I honestly ticked the boxes in terms of what I did in El Paso. So I had a great time, and Y2 Garcia, she was at the show as well. So I got
Oh,
to
was she? That's awesome.
got to meet her. So that, obviously that was another highlight as well. So
Yeah.
no, El Paso was very, very kind to me.
That's cool, man. I love Texas. I've only driven through El Paso. I drove from San Antonio to Vegas. I drove through, but I'd love to go. Would you recommend it?
Yeah. No, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. Marty, would you recommend it?
Yeah, of course I would, Sam.
There we go. Say it with more zest.
No, it's cool. It's really cool. I think there's like loads. I mean, I think there's loads of places that are cool, you know. So
yeah, I just love Texas.
If you're driving through it, then yes, stop and check it out. I don't think you need to get,
stretch
like,
your legs, go to the bathroom. Yeah,
go check it out. Yeah,
be safe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
All right then. Should we leave it there?
Well, yeah, I think we'll try and tie up there's so many questions. And again, we don't want this to be a super duper long podcast. So we will answer the rest of the questions either next week or the week after. But we do really, really appreciate each and every one of your questions. And yeah, maybe we'll do like a part 2, or maybe we'll just try and spread out some of these questions across the next sort of few podcasts. Of course, like Sam said, I think like 40 of you guys are like, when are you going to AEW? So I'm really sorry if your name didn't get read out. But we all appreciate you listening, and we appreciate you asking questions and making this Ask Marty Anything episode possible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks everybody who provided us with a question, whether it got read out or not. We greatly appreciate it. We will get through the backlog. We will, but keep them coming. Like, challenge us, make it difficult for us to get through the backlog. We don't want to run out of questions, because that would suck. So keep them coming. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, have a good week. Till next week.